Hello everyone. It's a bit dark in here today, so let there be light. If you want to buy a Chihiros light, but you're way too confused about the whole range, then today is your lucky day. We're gonna clear some things up. Chihiros has a really wide range of LED lights available on the market. It's really important that all the lights are for different purposes, different size of aquariums, so it's important to clarify what you should choose if you are starting a new tank. I'm going to start with the nano size lights. The first level of lights from the Chihiros is the C series, which you have the C201, 251, 301 and 361. Now the numbers are referring to the length of the light, which helps you to find it for your aquarium size. Now this light only has white LEDs inside, so you can't control the color of them and you can't access the light from your phone. You can all the rest of the range, we can talk about it later on. For this one, you actually have a small button dimmer on the electric cable itself, and that way you can adjust the power output of the light. Now, I would recommend this light if you want to make a simple nano setup, not really a planted aquarium, more likely a tank for shrimps or a betta with some really easy plants, so like epiphytes and so on. But don't expect bright red colored plants or anything like that from this, or don't try to use it for carpeting plants. This is a simple light for your tank. And then we have these two, which look identical, but this one is the regular C2, which has white LEDs, and this one is the C2 RGB, which, as the name suggests, it has RGB LEDs. Now, both these are already controllable from your phone. Actually, this is the Bluetooth connection device on it. With the regular C2, you can control the dimming and you can actually automate the lights. Now, with the RGB version, added to all this, you can also adjust the colors. The RGB, so red, green, blue channels can be controlled separately. If you are more into fiddling with your phone and playing around with stuff like this, then the RGB is a better choice. Well, this is a bit up for taste, but for me personally, it creates a much nicer color scheme. So if you have red plants or you want to pop the color of your fish in your tank, the RGB is a bit better for that. If you just want a light that works well and you just want to quickly set the turn on turn off time and the dimming, then the white LED is a better choice for you. Everything that comes from now is mainly for bigger tanks, but they are all available in sizes between 30 centimeters and 120 centimeters. These ones are the least powerful, but already really for planted tanks. The A2 is white LEDs only. The A2 Max is white LEDs only as well. Now the WRGB Slim is RGB. Why the name is WRGB? No idea. It's simple RGB. It doesn't go for the rest of the WRGB range though. We'll continue with that later on. These ones come in an order respecting power, that the A2 is the least powerful. The WRGB Slim has more power, and the A2 Max is the most powerful of the three. The A2 I would recommend for simple tanks, epiphyte plants. Maybe you can start using carpeting plants and some stem plants, but don't expect deep red colors and really dense carpeting unless you use it on a shallow tank, for example. Obviously for that you don't need as much power because the water level is much lower. The A2 Max is already high-tech territory. we would use this on a fully planted aquarium with basically any kind of plant you want, but you can't change the colors. So we are back at the topic that we did with the C2 and the C2 RGB. It's the same discussion basically in between these two. The Slim is a bit less powerful than the A2 Max, but you can adjust the colors with these. All the LEDs in this one are 3-in-1 RGBs, so you don't have separate colored LEDs inside. All the LEDs have all the 3 colors with adjustable channels one by one. All these lights come with adjustable legs except for the A2. With A2 you receive these 2 legs which you can screw on the side. So a 30 centimeter light is for a 30 centimeter tank. You can't adjust it. These 2 have adjustable legs. So this one is a 45 centimeter light, but you can use it from 45 to 60 centimeters as far as the legs go. Even though this one can be adjusted to 60 centimeters, if you have a 60 centimeter tank, go with a 60 centimeter light. You want the biggest coverage on the tank possible. Actually, Green Aqua has made an adjustable adapter for the A2 as well. So even though it comes with the stock legs not adjustable, you can actually buy separately an adjustable adapter, and we've also made a separate hanging kit adapter for this. These ones you can buy Chihira's hanging kits that are designed for these, but the A2 they don't have a hanging kit, but we've made one so you can find it in the shop. The next batch is the WRGB series, which is the WRGB2 Slim, the regular WRGB2 and the WRGB2 Pro. As I mentioned earlier, the Slim is not really WRGB, it's simple RGB. But the other 2 actually have white color in them as well. The normal WRGB2 is almost twice as powerful as the Slim version, and the Pro is even more powerful. WRGB2, the regular one without any of the other words, I would say this is the best light for most aquascapers. It has enough power to have any kind of plants with any colors on any height with perfect density. The Slim is for the more careful ones, and the Pro is for weird sizes. And by sizes I mean height. So the Pro is really good for high aquariums, 50 centimeters, 60 centimeter, even 100 centimeter high tanks. You can use a WRGB2 Pro light because you will have sufficient lighting on the bottom of the tank, and you can have carpeting plants. This is always a weird thing about how we light the tanks. Carpeting plants demand a lot of light, most of them. And obviously they are furthest from the light source itself, and there's a lot of water in between the two. So regular aquarium sizes usually have a height from 30 to 50 centimeters, and for that the regular WRGB is perfect. But if you have anything higher than that, I would go with the Pro to have enough light on the bottom level of the tank and to have the ability to have carpeting plants nurtured in nice conditions. These lights come with adjustable legs as well, or there are hanging kits available for all these lights. There are these small holes on the edge of the light, and you can screw in the hanging kit and just hang it from above the tank. Most people don't really think about hanging their lights if they don't need to, but actually it's always my recommendation to do it if you can, because it's much easier to handle the aquarium itself. During maintenance, you don't need to take off the light or push it to the back of the tank or any of those things. If you have it hanging above the tank, you can perfectly reach into it, or you can even adjust the height to have more space if you need it. Now we got to the last 2 lights. We have the RGB Vivid Mini and the RGB Vivid 2. The difference is the size. Now the RGB Vivid Mini is not too powerful. Actually, it has about the same power output as the regular WRGB lights, but it's different in shape. And where it comes in is this light has a much wider lighting surface than the regular WRGB, which means you have bigger coverage in the depth of your tank. And that's really important. Just as I said before, that don't put a 45 centimeter light on a 60 centimeter long tank, because you're gonna have dark areas on the edges. Same goes in depth. You need a wide spread light to have light all around the aquarium. Now the Vivid Mini comes in two different types. There is the regular one, and then there is the hanging one. This is the regular one. You actually get a leg for it that you can put on the backside of the aquarium, and the cable comes from the middle of the light, because the leg goes to the middle of the light as well, so you can actually lead the electrical cable through the leg and you don't really see it. The hanging version has the cable coming out by the hanging installments. Other than that, the two lights are identical, so lumens, power output, everything else is the same. And then we have the big guy, the RGB Vivid 2. And these ones can only be used hanging from ceiling, shelves, wherever you can hang them. But for example, on a 120 centimeter long aquarium, you can use a WRGB 120. But on that size, it's really uncomfortable to have a light on top of the tank, and for the 45 depth that usually comes at least 45 with a 120p, you really need the wider lighting area, and the regular Vivid is even wider than the Vivid Mini. So that was all the lights that come from Chihiros. I hope it's a bit more clear now. Now you see on the screen the whole chart about these lights, what kind of LEDs they have, what kind of lumen output they have, power consumption, everything like this. You can actually download this chart from the description. We put out a link, so go look for that. And now let's talk about the app itself and how you can use it. All the lights come with Bluetooth controller in them, which means you can connect to them through Bluetooth. If you want to control your light from, I don't know, another country, because why not? There is actually a Wi-Fi hub available, which converts the Bluetooth connection to a Wi-Fi connection. The light itself connects to your home Wi-Fi, and then through that device, you can actually reach and set your light from wherever the world if you have internet connection. What you can adjust is a slightly different between the lights themselves. So with all the lights that only have white LEDs, what you can adjust is the power output in percentages, and you can also set an automation for them, so how they turn on and turn off. So you can, for example, set up that you want the light to turn on at 9 AM, you want it to turn off at 5 PM, you want it to run on 60% during that time, and you can set how long they ramp up and ramp down in between those times. So for example, 30 minutes, it would be a great choice. This is really good for your fish because they don't get frightened from the sudden turning on or turning off your lights, so they don't start jumping out. Now with the RGB lights, you can set all what I've just mentioned, and you can also set the RGB, so red, green, blue channels separately, and you can achieve a desired color scheme in your aquarium. And how to set those colors? You guys are always asking in the comments for the setups we use on our tanks in the showroom. The reason we don't really share those is because they're not helpful for you. Every single tank is different. The best option you have is look for the presets. There are 5 or 6 color scheme presets in the app. Look through them all. Find the one that you like the most and then adjust it slightly. Slightly, I mean 5%, not more, on any of the channels. This way you can definitely find a color that you really like and a color that actually works for your plants. Thank you for joining me. I really hope I helped you guys out. Please let me know in the comments and see you next time. Goodbye.